Welcome to your Train the Trainer seminar. This seminar will guide you through the process of building your own training session. A Train the Trainer seminar workbook accompanies this presentation. Your workbook provides you with a place to organize your learning and session planning. During this session, your screen will occasionally go dark like this, and an on-screen prompt will ask you to pause your video. Brief instructions on screen will ask you to complete work in your Train the Trainer seminar workbook. If you've not already done so, please download an electronic copy of this seminar workbook now. Then, press play to continue the seminar. Now that you have your Train the Trainer seminar workbook in front of you, let's get started. You'll be an active participant in this seminar. People learn more in training when they're involved. Learning by doing is a critical training principle. Your hands-on learning in this seminar can be categorized as one of three primary activities: training exercises, training discussions, and training development. You will see the following headings for each of these three primary activities throughout the seminar. First, you'll encounter this training exercise heading in blue, in which you'll think about applying your learning. Use your seminar workbook and follow along with this presentation using the page numbers that you see in the lower right-hand corner of your screen. Second, you will come across training discussions, indicated with red headings. In these discussions, you will engage with your learning content. When completing this seminar online, use training discussions to jot down notes in your session workbook as you reflect on the given questions for that particular discussion. Finally, when you see a green heading, you will complete training development activities in which you will apply your learning as you develop your very own training session. Training development activities give you the time to put your learning into action as you build a training seminar. Welcome to Lesson 1, Introduction to Training. This lesson is focused on helping you learn training skills. We'll define training as the development and delivery of information that people will use. In this lesson, you will be given an overview of your seminar experience and the basics of training. This lesson will cover what you need to know about training as you consider the development of your training session. You will have the opportunity to identify your personal training-related strengths as well as your goals for the seminar experience. Let's get started. Let's try a training development activity. My training topic. Brainstorm ideas and identify your training topic before we begin our seminar. We define training as the development and delivery of information that people will use. This definition distinguishes training from other situations where people are provided information but are not necessarily expected to use it. This distinction between training and those non-training activities is an important one. Mainly, the process for developing training is substantially different from that of non-training activities. Now for a discussion. Remember that training? What are some examples of training situations that you've participated in that are connected to your job? Press pause now and complete this activity in your seminar workbook. When you are finished, press play to continue the seminar. Strengths are a unique combination of talents, knowledge, and skills that every person possesses. People use these innate traits and abilities in their daily lives to complete their work, to relate to others, and to achieve their goals. People who do focus on their strengths every day are 6 times more likely to be engaged in their jobs. They are more productive too, both individually and in teams. And they are more than 3 times as likely to say they have an excellent quality of life. Discovering and developing your strengths positions you to do what you do best every day. For decades, the Clifton Strength Finder assessment has helped people excel. Today, more than 12 million people have realized the benefits of leading with their strengths. Trainers have a unique opportunity to put their strengths to work in how they design and facilitate training. So let's complete an exercise, My Strengths in Training. List each of your top 5 strengths through the Clifton Strength Finder process. Then, list what resources you believe your strengths lend to your training abilities. If you don't have the Strength Finder resource available to you, consider what you're good at and list them as your strengths. Then list the resources you believe your strengths lend to your training abilities. Press pause now and complete this activity in your seminar workbook. When you are finished, press play to continue the seminar. People learn in various ways. Learning styles indicate the most effective methods of instruction for various types of learners. When developing training content and delivery methods, recognizing these differences enhances the effectiveness of training. 3 distinct learning styles are 1. Visual, 2. Auditory, and 3. Kinesthetic. Although everyone learns in all of the styles, each person does have a dominant learning style. Let's discuss this. My learning style. Why is it important in your training role to be aware of your own dominant learning style? Press pause now and complete this activity in your seminar workbook. When you're finished, press play to continue the seminar. Now let's complete exercise 1-2, Learning Style Assessment. Complete the Learning Style Assessment on page 11 of your seminar workbook. Press pause now and complete this activity in your seminar workbook. When you are finished, press play to continue the seminar. A study of 5,300 participants identified the following breakdown among learning styles, which are believed to be respective of the general population. 29% of individuals were visual, while 34% were auditory and 37% kinesthetic. Although each person normally has one dominant learning style, each of us learns in all 3 ways. A small number of people learn just as easily among any of the 3 styles. Trainers should recognize the various styles and present material to stimulate learning in all 3 styles. Let's take a look at auditory learners. Auditory learners simply learn better by listening. They like to hear presentations or talk out problems. Lecture is typically an effective learning method for these participants. Listen for indications that a participant is an auditory learner. These participants often use words associated with sound, listening, or hearing, or something that makes noise or sound. They often sound something like this: "That sounds great," or "Listen to me," or "I'm listening." Typically, auditory learners like to talk with people, prefer to listen to the radio, and enjoy music. These learners prefer verbal instructions to written ones. They learn from discussions with other participants as well as lectures from the trainer. Video presentations also work well. Again, auditory learners learn from talking, teaching, reading out loud, and presenting. Let's discuss auditory learners. In a small group, identify ways that a trainer can engage with an auditory learner. For online seminar participants, jot down a few ideas in your seminar workbook about these ways a trainer can engage. Press pause now and complete the activity in your seminar workbook. When you're finished, press play to continue the seminar. Visual learners like to see. They're the people that learn best by watching, seeing, and observing. Visual learners prefer seeing or reading materials. These learners respond well to pictures and illustrations in material. They need step-by-step charts with pictures of the procedures or processes that are being learned. Visual learners often prefer reading, seeing, or paintings and other visuals. Visuals with words or colorful writing on a flip chart are good ways to stimulate learning for the visual learner. These participants appreciate creative pictures or illustrations that accompany key words. These participants also respond well to video presentations if the content is lively, colorful, and animated. The trainer can often determine whether a participant is a visual learner from his or her choice of words. Visual learners might say things like, "That looks good to me," or "I need more to get a perspective," or "I see how." Now let's discuss visual learners. In a small group, or in your seminar workbook, identify ways that a trainer can engage with a visual learner. Press pause now and complete this activity in your seminar workbook. When you're finished, press play to continue the seminar. Kinesthetic learning, also known as tactile learning, is when learners learn best by acquiring new skills by doing. This means making your training as practical and hands-on and active as possible. Kinesthetic learners absorb new information by doing, moving, and participating. These participants like action and are bored by just reading or listening. They're usually not good at listening to audio tapes or lectures. If they have to sit for long without moving, the trainer loses their attention. These learners often use words that convey action, movement, and a sense of touch or feeling and involvement. They say things like, "That feels right," or "I feel that," or "It's a tough problem." Now let's discuss kinesthetic learners. In a small group or in your seminar workbook, jot down ways that a trainer can engage a kinesthetic learner. Press pause now and complete this activity in your seminar workbook. When you're finished, press play to continue the seminar. Now let's complete exercise 1-3, My Strengths in Training. On the line beside the activity, write visual, auditory, or kinesthetic in your seminar workbook. Press pause now and complete this activity in your seminar workbook. When you are finished, press play to continue. Often when people are asked to assume a trainer role, they begin with an image of training based on how they've been taught in the past. In most instances, this image in their mind is closely related to how they were taught as children in school. But there are some significant differences between children and adult learners. It is important to understand these differences so that you can gear your training to the needs of an adult audience. This table compares a few of the primary differences between children and adults as learners. First, let's look at children. They rely on others to decide what's important to be learned. They accept information being presented at face value. They also expect that their learning to be useful in their long-term future. Children have little or no experience upon which to draw in the learning environment. And children have little ability to serve as knowledgeable resources for the teacher or classmates. This varies drastically from adult learners. Adults decide for themselves what's important to be learned. They need to verify information based on their beliefs and experiences. Adults expect that what they're learning should be immediately valuable. Adults also have much past experience upon which to draw and have significant ability to serve as knowledge resource for a trainer or learners in a class or training setting. Now let's discuss childhood learning. Think back to your childhood learning. What do you recall? Press pause now and complete this activity in your seminar workbook. When you are finished, press play to continue the seminar. Let's continue our discussion by considering adult versus child learning. Now, what have you seen or experienced in this seminar that is different from your childhood classroom learning experiences? Press pause now and complete this activity in your seminar workbook. When you have finished, press play to continue the seminar. The differences between children and adults as learners point to the need to follow specific principles when training adults. These include 1. Focus on real-world problems. 2. Emphasize how learning can be applied. 3. Relate learning to the goals of the learner. 4. Relate the learning to past experiences of the learner. 5. Allow debate and challenge of ideas. 6. Listen to and respect the opinion of all learners. And finally, 7. Encourage learners to be a resource to you as the trainer and to one another as they learn. Now let's complete an exercise. 1-4. Ineffective training. Think about past training that was ineffective. Jot down what was ineffective, then associate adult learning principles. Press pause now and complete this activity in your seminar workbook. When you are finished, press play to continue the seminar. Let's continue with another exercise. 1-5. Effective training. Think about past training that was effective. Jot down what was effective, then associate an adult learning principle. Press pause now to complete this activity in your seminar workbook. When you are finished, press play to continue your seminar. If you are new to training and development and have been thinking about putting together any type of training program, it's important to know and understand the most basic training tool used by professional trainers. It's called the ADDIE model. The ADDIE, or ADDIE model, is basically a generic, systematic, step-by-step framework used by trainers to ensure course development and learning does occur and is not haphazard or unstructured. It's designed to ensure 1. Learners will achieve the goals of the course, 2. Allows for the evaluation of learners' needs, 3. The design and the development of the training materials are strong, and 4. Evaluation of effectiveness of the training program using a process with specific and measurable outcomes is applied. The ADDIE model is a framework that trainers use to develop great training courses. You will note that this seminar is built around this ADDIE framework. Let's take a look. Analysis. In the first phase, the course is detailed, objectives are established, and issues such as learners' skill level are identified. Design. A variety of tasks are addressed at the design phase to achieve the best course design. Learning objectives, content, session structure, resources, and exercise are all detailed. Each is pursued under a logical and orderly method of identifying, developing, and evaluating plans for meeting training outcomes. Development. During this phase, content for the session is completed. PowerPoints, handouts, visuals, videos, and all other materials are developed consistent with the training design. Implementation. The implementation phase involves the preparation and delivery of training content. This is where the trainer actually facilitates their content. And finally, evaluation. The evaluation phase is ongoing throughout the design process. Its purpose is to ensure that all stated goals of the learning process will meet specified learner needs. This is the ADDIE model: analysis, design, development, implementation, and evaluation. In this exercise, let's consider why ADDIE. Reflect on the ADDIE model. Identify why ADDIE matters in good training design. Press pause now to complete this activity in your session workbook. When you've finished, press play to continue the seminar. Now for another exercise, 1-7, ADDIE in this seminar. Pair each of the upcoming lessons in your seminar workbook with the corresponding step of the ADDIE framework. Press pause now and complete this activity in your seminar workbook. When you are finished, press play to continue the seminar.